My name is Sean D'Angelo Walton.
My name is Cypher.
My name is Chatham.
I stay in the Ashu Heights community.
The parks that don't.
I live off of Whitehall.
It's the first planned African American community on the west side of Atlanta.
meets Mechanicsville,
West
like right on the
which is part of
the West End.
I like to think about community as...
For me, community means...
Community to me is just having people to go to.
People who see you, people who witness you.
People that are there for you.
That are familiar.
Knowing the people that you are living next to.
You interact with, people that you see.
People with like minds, people with different minds that you can go to that kind of
Smile to, wave
that
to.
support you
make up your circle.
Support system.
in your growth and development.
People who support each other.
Provide things for you and do the same for them.
They stem from the word commune, so you're willing to break bread with the people who live next to you.
I think about community as an investment in the growth of a person over time.
Safety, assuring that your kids grow up properly.
Having a general understanding of what the needs of the people around you are and how you can assist and engage with them.
There are so many aspects of community. There's a broad scope of community. There's a near, proximate identification of community.
Community is, I think, just people. And the neighborhood is the homes in it, like what area it is, not really the people in it.
I would say it can be one and the same, but not necessarily.
Neighborhood is really just where you reside. And community is the attitudes, the personalities, the personas of the people within that neighborhood.
Where I live is where my house is.
I see community as bigger than my neighborhood.
My neighboring community is those people who are my neighbors next to me.
I'm cool with my neighbors.
Who I walk down the street, who I see when I walk my kid to school, you know what I'm saying?
But I think as far as being in a place where I feel seen and affirmed and where people know me, I don't know if my neighborhood is necessarily my community.
My neighborhood should, I don't like to use that word, but a lot of times is the most immediate community or foundation aside from like family and close friends.
In a sense, you know, that's the most important community because that's where you're living.
But I like to think of my community as more expansive than just my neighborhood.
So those things that are living around you should be probably the most important community.
I think community can be with people or it can be with place.
The spot that I'm in right now, I just moved into like March.
It's been 5 years.
I've been there 5 years, and honestly, I came from out of town, and I was able to get such cheap rent.
I wanted to see black people all the time.
My parents moved out there in February, so I just went with them. We came from Decatur, and so that's how we got to Laconia.
Prices were so depressed because of so much mortgage fraud. The West End just felt like home. It was what I was wanting, just seeing reflections of myself and being in a place where there's like black children, black families. It was just so much of what I needed to feed my soul.
Yeah, I've noticed some changes, of course.
The gentrification of our community, how it's constantly changing, how developments are constantly being built.
Kroger sold rotten food. You know, there was a trap house on my block. People would be shooting. I grew up in the hood, so I was like, okay, I can this is manageable.
One day with us.
One day.
One day.
One day.
One day.
70 degrees
We'll
ain't
show
nothing.
you something.
We'll show you something.
They're definitely changing.
I've noticed more pale faces around. When the Super Bowl came around, of course, they're trying to clean up the street and tighten up some of these buildings, take down some of these murals and things like that.
A lot of retail developments, so they're building a Publix and an AMC right across the street from my house.
They just finished building the Beltline right next to our house too.
Yeah, a lot of new houses, a lot of new apartments, condos, townhouses, like everywhere.
I've just seen my community change. I guess externally what people would say for the better because it's gentrification and white people moving in and black people with money moving in, but it changes the character of the neighborhood.
The housing costs going up, and people aren't making any more money to afford housing, so they're getting pushed out.
It kind of pushes a lot of people out because property taxes rise and people have to leave and go somewhere else.
Like personal stories I've heard, like, you know, I can't afford my house anymore. They're changing all the stuff around me. I can't afford it anymore. I can't afford the taxes or whatever, so I had to move out.
No one really owns the homes there.
People talking to me like I ain't human. But see, I once was a man, had a dream, a job, a drive, and a plan.
Like the people who were my neighbors, who knew my name, who knew my dog, who would watch my house, those neighbors are gone, right? Because they sold their house to an investor. And the people moving in, especially if they're buying houses cash, $300,000-$400,000 houses in cash, they're not necessarily concerned about being a part of the neighborhood or being part of a community.
We don't really know a lot of the people in our neighborhood.
Even though I'm not from Atlanta, and I think that can even be more impactful for people who grew up here, I think it is, for me, heartbreaking to see communities that were so divested from, and to see all of this investment coming in, and the people who suffered for so many years don't get to reap the benefit of what they've been through.
For years, as long as I've been alive, for 31 years, there haven't been sidewalks in Decatur. Last year, you saw some breaking ground of the soil being tossed, concrete being laid for the sidewalks. And that's because someone died, trying to cross the street, got hit by a car. And so it's really like, it has to result in death for there to be change.
If gentrification allowed the actual economic development and empowerment of a community, then it would be something to celebrate, where more people were getting jobs, more people were able to send their children to private school or to college. People just had more economic opportunity, but that's not the case. And so you have this influx of money, and then you have people who are still poor as f. It just makes me angry, frustrated. It's just disheartening to see like our city representatives totally siding with developers.
Money, capitalism, always. What can we do over here to get us more money, to get us more leverage, more power? Who can we bring in? What do these people require to feel comfortable, to feel safe? I think it's about money, 9 times out of 10.
I'm happy the changes are coming, but very mad as to why they're coming.
It's okay. I mean, they're fun to go to, but it also causes problems with like traffic. It's a lot of traffic by our house now, especially since we live on a busy street.
I hate that people are forced out of their homes, having to pay more even though they're not upgrading their home. They're staying in the same spot. I think that's fair.
Change is inevitable to me. So I'm not pro, I'm not against it. It is just something that's kind of happening, occurring, and something that is going to have to be dealt with and kind of adapted to one way or the other.
The changes are like changes that everybody experience. I mean, we grow, people say gentrification or displacement, whatever. I mean, everything is involved in it. I mean, you got to adapt. You can grow in a good way, you can be mad, you can have that negative energy and be stagnant or fight about it or whatever, or you can see it as a growing opportunity for your own self to make sure that you're rising to the occasion. We always talk about rising to the occasion, whether it be in our grades, whether it be in relationships. Well, and again, in community, sometimes you have to rise to the occasion.
I see it as just another step, something that's happening. It's like, all right, well, how do I interact with this? Do I want to lean into it? Do I want to lean against it? Or just not even associate myself with it?
I just think people, don't sell your house. Come together and try to keep it.
As a community of Black and brown people, it is very important that we utilize and exercise our rights to vote, pay attention to who we're putting into office and what they are seeking to accomplish in the long run. But more importantly, it's time for us to really galvanize and unify as a people.
Identity, I think, is probably the biggest challenge moving forward. What does it want to be? What does it look like? What does New Atlanta look like? Are we just putting up Atlanta United banners and claiming Atlanta now? Like, what is our new identity, or where are we moving towards? Where are the artisans? Where's the culture coming from? Who's dictating that? The greatest asset of any community is the people within it, and like their skill sets, their personalities, their culture, how it all comes together to create. That is the community, you know what I mean? Without the people, then
that's that real community that you really need to be focusing on.